TV presenter Yuri Nikolaev died at the age of 77. Ballet dancer Nikolai Tsiskaridze announced this on November 4th in his Telegram channel. Those few words sent a wave of grief through generations of Russians who had grown up with Nikolaev's voice, his warmth, and the particular light he brought to television. His passing marked the end of an era that stretched back to the golden age of Soviet and post-Soviet broadcasting, when hosts like him were not merely presenters, but companions to millions of families who gathered around their screens on Sunday mornings or festive nights. The news seemed to land with a quiet heaviness, not just because of his age, but because of what his death represented. It was as if a piece of collective memory had been gently taken away. For decades, Yuri Nikolaev had been one of those faces who felt like home. Born in Moscow in December 1948, Yuri Alexandrovich Nikolaev grew up in a world still rebuilding from war, but full of cultural hope. His parents, ordinary Soviet citizens with an extraordinary faith in the future, nurtured his curiosity and talent. From an early age, he was drawn to performance, fascinated by radio voices and the theatrical world that flourished in Moscow during the 1950s and 1960s. People who knew him as a child remembered his energy and how he would imitate radio hosts and entertainers in front of a small mirror, imagining himself talking to invisible listeners. There was something magnetic about his calmness even then, a poise that would later become his signature on camera. After finishing school, he pursued higher education at the State Institute of Theatrical Arts, GITIS, an institution that had already produced many cultural icons. It was during his time there that he developed his understanding of timing, emotion, and audience connection. In the Soviet Union, television was still a relatively young medium, and for many people, it represented a portal into the larger world, one that carried music, stories, and hope. For Nikolaev, it was not just a career path, but a calling. His early professional years were humble. He worked behind the scenes, assisting older producers, learning the complex rhythm of live television, understanding how to make a program flow naturally. When he finally appeared on screen for the first time, he did not immediately seek fame. His first show, Forward Boys, or Vapird Rebyata, was small, but it carried his essence, enthusiasm, encouragement, and belief in the youth. Audiences immediately noticed something authentic in him. He was not acting. He was being himself. That rare authenticity would later define his success. As the years passed, Nikolaev became synonymous with music television in the USSR. He was chosen to host Morning Mail, Utrennaya Pochta, a weekly program that combined music videos, letters from viewers, and performances by the country's most beloved artists. The concept was simple. People from across the Soviet Union sent letters, song requests, and stories, and Nikolaev read them with warmth, connecting distant lives through television. It became more than a show. It was a tradition. Every weekend, millions tuned in, families gathered, children sat cross-legged before the TV, and there he was, calm, elegant, with that reassuring smile that seemed to say, "Everything will be all right." His work on Morning Mail spanned decades. He was not merely introducing songs. He was building an emotional bridge between generations. Through his voice and gestures, he conveyed empathy and sincerity. When he read out a letter from a young soldier serving far away or from a mother thanking the program for lifting her spirits, people could feel that he truly cared. He had a remarkable ability to make even the simplest words feel meaningful. Following the massive popularity of Morning Mail, Nikolaev became the face of several other music and entertainment programs, including the legendary Blue Light, Goluboy Ogonyok, and Song of the Year, Pesnya Goda. These shows were cornerstones of Soviet and later Russian television, broadcast during major holidays and national celebrations. To be invited to Blue Light was to be recognized as one of the country's most prominent entertainers. For Nikolaev, it was also an opportunity to celebrate the joy of performance, and he did so with dignity and charm. Unlike many presenters who relied on exaggerated enthusiasm, his energy was subtle and genuine. He allowed others to shine while gracefully guiding the audience through each moment. Children also adored him. For years, he appeared on Good Night Kids, Spokojnej noci malishi, the beloved children's program that had soothed generations before bedtime. His presence was gentle and kind, as if an uncle was telling stories just for them. Many adults who mourned him decades later remembered those evenings when they sat in pajamas watching Nikolaev smile through the screen before saying goodnight. One of his most important contributions to television came with the creation of Morning Star, Utrennaya Zvezda, a program that ran from 1991 to 2003. It was a talent competition that gave countless young performers their first major exposure. Many artists who would later become household names began their careers on Nikolaev's stage. His approach to mentoring was unique. He did not judge or criticize harshly. Instead, he nurtured. He often said that his goal was not to create stars, but to help people believe in themselves. His show provided a platform at a time when the country was undergoing massive political and cultural changes, offering viewers a sense of stability amid uncertainty. Through those turbulent years, when Russia was redefining itself after the fall of the Soviet Union, Nikolaev's presence on television served as a comforting continuity. He represented decency, optimism, and professionalism. People trusted him. When scandals and chaos dominated other parts of media, he remained unshaken. He believed that television had a moral purpose: to educate, uplift, and connect people. But fame was never easy, and Nikolaev was not immune to personal struggles. He faced health challenges in his later years, including a prolonged battle with a serious lung disease, which some reports linked to lung cancer. Despite his illness, he continued to appear in public and participate in television projects. Friends often remarked on his discipline. He never wanted to disappoint viewers or colleagues. Even when he felt weak, he would arrive on set early, impeccably dressed, ready to deliver his best. It was not just professionalism, it was his way of life. Those close to him described him as deeply private. Unlike many celebrities, he did not court publicity. He rarely spoke about his personal life, preferring to keep the focus on his work. Yet behind that reserved demeanor was a man of deep feeling. He loved music, theater, and books. He cherished conversations about philosophy and human nature. In interviews, he sometimes reflected on the fleeting nature of fame and the importance of kindness. He often said that true success was not in ratings, but in the smiles of people who stopped him on the street to say thank you. As time passed, younger generations might not have known him as vividly as their parents did, but his influence continued quietly. Modern television hosts often mentioned him as an example of elegance and restraint, qualities increasingly rare in an era of sensationalism. He mentored many aspiring presenters, sharing with them the art of speaking simply and sincerely. When the news of his death was announced by Nikolai Tsiskaridze, it hit the cultural community like a thunderclap. Tsiskaridze, himself a national treasure, wrote with visible grief, recalling how much Nikolaev had done to support artists, dancers, and singers. Other celebrities, journalists, and ordinary viewers filled social media with tributes. Many shared personal memories, meeting him backstage, watching him live, or simply hearing his voice during their childhoods. For them, it wasn't just that a television host had died. It was as though part of their youth had vanished with him.